Hi guys, wow, a wonderful analysis of Rishi Sunak by comedian and writer Ben Elton. So a little context here. Rishi Sunak, the Prime Minister, appeared on the Laura Kuenssberg show where he was asked about a number of things including inflation, the coup against Putin and NHS waiting lists. Now instead of answering any of the questions, he just regurgitated his prepared talking points about how he's dealing with these challenges, and as usual he refused to say how he will do it or what measures are being put in place. But back to Ben, who didn't hold back. Enjoy.
Now, I have to say, Ben, you were looking distinctly unimpressed throughout that interview. Fair to say, I think you've never been a fan of the Conservatives, but what did you think of what Mr Sunak said?
It's not so much depressed as sad. I mean, if anybody was still watching after that extraordinary Orwellian, meaningless, evasive word salad, I mean, everybody else wanted to believe, and I sort of believe maybe he's kind of a bit more decent. You know, and it turns out he's as much of a mendacious, narcissistic sociopath as his previous boss. I mean, this man literally, he seems to be making a principle of the fact that he resigned from a government that he'd served loyally and inflation while he was Chancellor of the Exchequer under Johnson. He seems to act as being born into Downing Street 6 months ago was a miracle birth. No, he was a part of a 13-year cycle which has got us to this point. He talks about other countries having the same problems. He doesn't admit what he well knows, which is that they're all doing better under them. The evasion, the constant repetition of a repaired street. I genuinely wanted to believe that maybe the Tories had made a reset, even though they had elected a man who had loyally served under Johnson, a man who made a mockery of a parliamentary democracy and clearly was venally motivated by self-interest. The fact that the Tories chose that easy option, for a man now to say, we don't take easy options, when they took the easy option, which was Johnson, because they thought it would keep them in power, and when they thought for a moment he wouldn't, they dumped him instantly. I mean, he's the Prime Minister. He owes us honesty, and we got nothing but mendacity, evasion, and vanity.
Well said, so well said. Now, apologies for the video glitch about halfway through. It was in the original. Now, so many interesting things raised here by Ben Elton. Like the idea at the beginning where he said that Rishi Sunak, it's Orwellian speak. You know, he doesn't answer questions. He starts talking and talking and talking. And by the end of the interview, you're no better off. You don't understand, okay, what did he actually say here? It's just going round and round and round in circles. He's asked a question and he repeats what he was prepared with. So, and I imagine this is how Rishi Sunak does prepare for interviews. He has a speechwriter, he has a guide who says, okay, this is what you're going to do. As a professional politician, you're not actually going to answer the question, you're just going to regurgitate a talking point. And it can be about stopping the boats or having inflation or cutting NHS waiting lists. Don't actually explain how you're going to do it, just explain that you will do it. Now, he actually contradicts himself in the original interview anyway, but it's just about talking, filling space. And of course, you know, Rishi Sunak can't ignore the 13 years of Tory rule. He tries to present himself as, well, I came down in the last shower, but he can't say that because he was there while Boris Johnson was running roughshod over Parliament, was making his massive mistakes, was lying to the public as well. At no stage until the very end did Rishi Sunak call out Boris Johnson. He defended him to the nth degree. So he can't come out now and say and present himself as something different when he was part of the problem. And you know, when Rishi Sunak in the original interview, he was saying how, he was asked about NHS waiting lists, and he was saying how, well, it's it's nothing really to do with me. It's to do with the pandemic. It's nothing to do with the Tories. It's to do with the pandemic. And then when Laura Kuenssberg raised the point that, well, NHS waiting lists were rising before the pandemic, then he says, well, it's nothing to do with me because I've just been Prime Minister for 6 months. But at the same time, they'll blame a lot of the problems facing the economy on the Labour Party, who haven't been in power for 13 years. But it's all about confusing the public. So it's about repeat talking points, confuse the public, and try and get out of the interview, get through the interview by just saying nothing, basically. Which begs the question, why is Rishi Sunak Prime Minister? Not how did he become Prime Minister, why does he want that position of power? He's not doing it for the money, because he earns a lot more money outside politics. Is it just to protect his peers? Is it about protecting himself or his wife or what, financially? Is that what it's all about? Because if that's the case, then he really should resign and let somebody else take over, somebody who actually cares. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.